Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So this week we're doing a video on setting up emergency funds even though you have a low income. And each week I make new videos on handling money and doing it with a purpose. So if that sounds like something that you're into and that's an interest of yours, then I would love to have you subscribe. So let's get into the video. I think to start with, we need to just make the decision and the commitment that we're actually going to start putting some money away. And the simple fact that you landed on this video and you clicked on it is a pretty good sign. So then we need to figure out what exactly it is we're saving for. So trying to narrow down, because to me, emergency funds sounds very, it sounds kind of daunting. You know, are we talking, what kind of emergency are we talking about here? Now, how I would do this is try to figure out, what's the last emergency you had? Was that your car breaking down? Was that your hours getting cut at work? Losing your job? You know, what are some of these emergencies? Were they some medications you couldn't afford? So that's, once we figure out kind of what we're saving for, then we can kind of put a dollar amount to it. Now, I found a website called costhelper.com, and so anything to do with like a home repair, auto repair, all of that, it's great. You can, you know, if you're looking for a transmission, you know, you want to know about how much it would cost to replace a transmission, what the average is. That way we have all of our numbers, you know, together. So I find it that if you have a number, it's not just out there in the void. You actually have something to work towards. And to me, that is extremely important. Now, I want to throw this in here because this is kind of a problem for a lot of people. It's a problem that comes up. Now, whenever I'm talking about emergencies, I'm talking about your emergencies. Like not your sister's emergency or your brother's or your aunt's or anything like that. I'm talking about yours and your family. Not that they're not your family, they are. But your immediate family, the ones that you are responsible for, in charge of, you know, it's your responsibility to take care of. That's what I mean by emergency. I just wanted to kind of let you know that I'm talking about yours. Now we need to figure out how much money we have to start putting into this. And the best way to do that is doing a budget. Now, I could talk about this for an hour, and I'm not going to because I'm trying to keep this video shorter. So the best way to do it is get a piece of paper or do it in your phone. I'm a paper girl, so it goes on paper. And then just write down what your income is and what your all of your necessary expenses are. So that's everything that is the bare minimum stuff. We're talking about just your rent, your car payment, all of your utilities, food, gas, all of that stuff, your minimum payments on everything. So once we figure out what that is, and we need to figure out what the difference between those two, that's the number we're going to be able to work with. And so let's just say once you've done that, you have 180 bucks left. Now we have to figure out how much we're going to put into that savings account, which is going to be determined by what those things we're saving for were. So if you are looking at maybe making sure you have money for some medications that you may have coming up that you know, that you don't already have, you know, money going towards, then you may want to put the majority of it in there. So I would say the first amount I would put somewhere is for the emergencies that I see maybe coming up semi-soon. Maybe it's the prescriptions, you know, that you didn't have the money for before, but that looks like, I mean, it could be something going forward. Maybe you you are worried about having a flat tire, you know, these kinds of things. I would figure out that amount and set those things, those amounts of money aside, and these are not touchable. You do not touch them other than for the exact reason that you set them aside to start with. Now, here's the thing with this money is, so this amount of money that you have put aside, you want to put it in a spot that is not super convenient so that you can't get into it whenever you want, or you know, you don't want to put it in a savings account that's attached to your checking, because we're not swapping over, you know, taking money out of there to get pizza. No, no, no. Now, if you have some really good self-control, do it. I mean, it'd be the easiest, but if you don't, that is not a good way to go. You want to make sure it's in a place where you can get it, but not so convenient that it makes it tempting. That's what we're trying to, you know, get away from here. And sometimes whenever we have a chunk of money sitting over here and we know it, it is kind of tempting. Like, oh, well, we do have this money over here. So here's my next tip on this. When you have this money, when you have started gathering it, say, you know, it gets to be, I don't know, $500. Well, $500 looks really inviting whenever you are, you know, down to your last dollar and all of these things. But that money, unless you're going to starve or unless you have to move or something like that, it is not touchable. I mean, we're not going to touch it. That's where also that commitment comes in. Now, I wanted to say something before I let you go. Don't tell anybody you got this money. Don't tell anybody, you know, oh, we're putting some money into savings, or we are putting some money into an emergency fund. Just don't tell them. The reason I say that is because sometimes if people know what you have going on, they may think that they have some sort of reason to have it, even though it's not theirs. Like, they ask you to borrow money and you say, no, I don't have the money for that, or, you know, whatever. Well, you said you had $500 in your savings account. That's what I'm saying. This money we're going to keep under our hat. It's money that you and your partner know about, and that's it. Nobody else needs to know about it because it's not theirs and it's not their business. So let's recap. So we've got making a decision. We've got trying to figure out what your pain points are and what your last few emergencies have been so that we know what to do moving forward. And also figuring out how much those would cost. And then the next one is setting your budget so that you know how much you have to work with, and then putting it somewhere safe. So let me know down in the comments if you have any tips or tricks that you use, or anything that you use to help remind yourself not to touch it, or anything to try to get it in there faster. Any of those kinds of things. We would all love to hear it, and I love to read the comments. I love learning from you guys, and I'm sure everybody else likes reading the comments. So anyway, if you are not subscribed, I would love to have you a first subscriber, and make sure you hit the little bell so you don't miss out on anything. And I would love to know what you're doing right now during all of this craziness, what you're doing to try to help your finances, help yourself, help others. So let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Oh my goodness. I didn't think that I had to go. Oh, whatever. It's fine. It's ridiculous. Oh well. Hi. Hey, how are you? Whatever. Anyway.